I knew it was going to be money. And I walk up there and I literally like got my hands on it and some lady just rips it right out of my hand. She's like, I was going to purchase that. I'm like,
what?
You can have it. Yeah, she just ripped it right out of my hand.
That.
And she really, and hopefully it was for herself. Maybe I'm not going to judge or say anything, but it was like $2. I'm pretty sure it was like a $40 Ravensburger puzzle or something. But people, if you just got to pounce on the opportunity when you get it. And sometimes there might be some conflict and you have to decide if it's worth the fight or not.
What's going on, everybody on YouTube and iTunes? Welcome back to the Raiken Profit channel. This is episode number 27 of the Raiken Profit Show. And today we have my good friend, Green Room member, hustler, Tim Grapp with the Pocket Profit YouTube channel. And Tim, he's been in the game for a couple of years now. He's been selling on eBay, mostly selling on Amazon FBA. He also does merch by Amazon. And again, he does have a YouTube channel, Pocket Profit. He lives out in the middle of nowhere, but that does not stop him from putting those profits in his pockets. What's going on, Tim?
Oh, not much. Just grinding the season away. You know how it goes. It's that Christmas time of year. So we're really just trying to finish up, wrap up, and get ready for the Q1.
Right. You know, it's Q4. And for the folks who are new to reselling, eBay, Amazon, especially if you're an Amazon seller, you know, some sellers I know they're getting 50% of their sales coming in, within this last month. And we've had some people in the green room posting some absolutely ridiculous numbers. We've had a guy, he did, I think, $700,000 in just 1 month.
Cleater.
Another guy in there, I know he did 6 figures in 1 month. A lot of these guys are doing retail arbitrage and whatnot. But yeah, this is the year, hustling, working hard. Do you take any vacations or anything after this Q4, or do you just dive right into the new year?
It just depends on how I'm sitting. We normally go for like a week or something because there's that break, and it just kind of depends on what the pricing is. I'm always looking at the best prices, and it's always way more expensive over the Christmas time. So we normally will wait a little bit. Last year we did the whole Vegas thing because we got a deal, and right now we were looking, but we're gonna wait. We're gonna wait a little bit.
Cool, man. Awesome. So, yeah, Tim, thanks for coming on the show. Let's kind of talk about your story. I know I've had you on a channel a little while back, and we talked a little bit. But for the people who don't know you or are new to the channel, can you tell them kind of how you got started with, reselling and making money online and kind of where you are today in terms of your business?
Sure. So I started reselling actually from a children's card game. I used to sell Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I used to play competitively tournaments, and I was decent. But when I first started, I really understood that people would take half value for a card for cash instead of trade value. And that's really what kind of got me started with, I can take this and then sell it on eBay. And then that kind of grew into, what else can I sell? What else can I sell? And then it just kind of snowballed into this whole online adventure that's been crazy but amazing at the same time.
So what exactly do you do right now? What does your business consist of? Like, what are your income streams? And what would you say, like, if you had to say how much time you divvy up into each one, what would that look like?
So if we were going to talk about all of them, I guess FBA would at least be, I want to say 90%, but it's probably a little bit less than that now that I'm venturing into some other things. But Amazon FBA is the major one. But then eBay as well. Not a huge, big eBay store just because I don't like to hold on to inventory, as why I do a lot of FBA. So eBay is normally, max normally around 100 items in the store at once, just because I don't hold on to it. Buy it cheap, sell, reprice it, all that stuff. And then it moves on to YouTube would be the next that I give the most time to, and it's something that I'm really, really trying to blossom now. I really like the platform. I like the freedom. I love the people, and I love the stories and the adventure. That's a huge thing for me right now. So it's been kind of life-changing and fun doing that as well. And then after that would be probably Amazon merch. That's probably the one I give the least attention to, but it is like changing probably soon too, because I've seen the profitability of it. I've seen the amount of real work I actually have to do to it to actually see numbers. And so I think coming the next year, once they open it up again and I can get geared up again, I'm going to put a lot more time into it down the road.
Cool, man. So about 90% Amazon FBA you had mentioned. Let's dive a little deeper into your Amazon business. What type of products are you selling and how are you getting them?
So I would say that I'm a connoisseur. I'll buy anything and everything that I'm allowed to sell. I don't just stay with one item. I know some people will stick just to books or they'll stick to just one thing. For me, since I love garage selling, like even maybe at the point where I don't need to, because I can do mostly thrifting or I could transition more into RA. It's one of those things like once you got it, you can't get it out of your blood. And it's like when you find dollar Legos that are like $100, something about it, and that negotiating, I just can't stop. I love it. So garage selling and then mostly thrifting. And then I do some RA as well. I did a lot more RA this year than I have in the past, and it's been okay. Some ups, some downs, but that's RA for you. And that's kind of where I'm at with that. So pretty much I'll buy anything that I can make money on that's not restricted to me.
Is there anything that you feel that you're really, really good at? Like something you'd say, you know what, like I'm an expert when it comes to this item. Like for me, it's always been clothing. I love clothing. I love books, clothing, eBay, books on Amazon, although books doesn't really take a ton of skill. It's more just like reading data. I think clothing's different. But is there anything that really stands out to you in terms of a product that you really love and you're just good at, you feel?
Honestly, I just want to be straightforward with everyone and just be honest. I think I'm just a person that knows a lot about a little things, if that makes sense. Where I don't think you need to be necessarily an expert in one thing. I think when you do garage selling and thrifting, like you get exposed to a huge multiple amount of items at once. So you're learning individual tips about each category as you go. So I don't want to sit there and be like, I studied electronics for 1 year. That's all I sold, because that's just not true. I learned electronics by buying them slowly, learning about them, and then learning about books, and then just kind of gathering information so I can be well-rounded instead of maybe an expert in one. Because for me, you're going garage selling, you're going thrifting, you're going to get thrown into a huge amount of items instead of you're just going into an electronics store or something like that.
I agree with what you're saying. I don't think being an expert is really necessary at all. I mean, especially if you're just on the fence and you've been watching these YouTube videos and you're like, I'm not ready to buy shoes, or I'm not ready to buy clothing, or I'm not ready to buy whatever because I'm not a quote unquote expert. I don't think you have to be, because I think really the battle is in being able to recognize an item, right? Because say you see a clothing brand, maybe like Canali or like Vineyard Vines, and you say to yourself, I think I've seen that or I recognize that. What do you do when you find an item that may or may not be profitable? How do you research it when you're on the go?
So, and that's one of the major issues or major things that I think new sellers or beginner sellers find themselves in. And I can't repeat it enough. You have tools accessible. Do your research, whether that's YouTube school, which I go to all the time, or blogs or whatever, and learn just the fundamentals. Have your eBay app downloaded, and when you have at least those basic tools and the foundation of checking a completed listings, that's almost all the information you need to make a good decision. Whether it's sold green, whether it's red, and whatever. And that's going to give you the real pricing points. And that's something I don't know if people talk about enough is it's just using those simple tools and that foundation to learn the beginning. And that's just going to translate way more down the road, farther and farther. Because I have that too, where I'll be at a garage sale or a thrift store, and a good example is like a musical instrument. I had no idea at all in my mind what this thing was. It was in a case. Never seen something like it before. I just typed in the name of it in eBay and typed the name and whatever the model was it. And it's like a $300 item, consistently green. I asked them, well, how much do you want? $5. I don't know if it works. I'll probably sell it as is and do like 150, 200 or auction. But just having that eBay app to go ahead and just search the name and model, I got almost all the information I needed to make a good decision.
And I think it's worth taking a a quote unquote risk. It's a calculated risk on something like that you're not familiar with, because you're looking at the comps, the comparable sales. You're seeing it selling for 300. Yeah, it might be a dud. It might be broken. But for $5, what's the worst that could happen? Maybe you can sell it for parts for $40, right? Or maybe you sell it for $300. It's kind of like Bitcoin right now. It really is. It's like, although that's almost kind of like a bad example because you can lose all your money pretty quickly. Whereas with a $5 investment. But the point I was the comparison was like the risk to reward. The reward is big, right? With Bitcoin, the reward is big, but the risk is big. With certain items like that musical instrument, the reward is big, but the loss is kind of small because who cares if you lose $5? Plus, you'll learn a ton, right?
Right, and that's what I always say to people that kind of come up with that argument. And I say, you need to realize that you're investing money, right? So the first step is you have a cushion. You're never playing with money. You're not afraid to lose. Like, if you have money and you're going to spend it on items, you need to understand and realize that you are potentially never getting that money back. And I don't think enough people realize that. They don't put that savings or that cushion aside. So they're spending, that was my last $10. And now I can't eat. Well, what the heck are you doing spending $10 that you need to eat with? You need to be prepared for the possibility that you won't get that money back. But I also always say is you're going to always get something back. It might not be cash, but you're either going to learn something or you're going to figure out a new avenue. You're gonna just figure something out, and your investment's gonna come back in some way, whether it's money, an experience, a connection, or a networking experience, or a learning experience. And I think people don't put enough value on those as well. They just look at the money part of it.
Do you ever go out thrifting, or do you ever go out hustling to garage sales with other people? Because I know you had mentioned networking. What's your experience been like that, if you have? Because I know you kind of live out in the middle of nowhere, so I don't know if you have any friends that you go out with, but I think it's a great way for beginners to learn.
Yeah, I have. A good example is me and Jameson, for one of the first times meeting, we met up to do some garage selling, and he wasn't much of a garage sailor still, and he's still mostly RA, but he wanted to go, we wanted to do something, and so we went out, and I learned a lot of stuff just from his knowledge, and he learned a few things. I think for me, like a good example was, because I wasn't a huge clothing seller at the time, I'm still not a huge clothing seller, but I still dabble, and I didn't know about Allen Edmonds shoes. I didn't know about them.
Really?
I did not. It's something I never researched, but we were in a garage sale, and he was kind of looking around, and he's like, do you want these? I don't really do eBay much, but if you want, I'm like, well, what are they? He's like, oh, they're Allen Edmonds. He explained to me what they were. We checked comps. They were going for about 50, good condition used or whatever. And he was telling me about the condition on the bottoms, because I never had done dress shoes at the time, where a little bit of marking's okay or whatever. And they wanted like $10 for them. I think I ended up talking them down to $5, and I learned and made some money there. And that's also another item would be that Nickelodeon alarm clock that if you've seen people post in the green room. That's the first time I learned about that as well. We were also garage selling, and we were about to leave, and he stops me. He's like, dude, you just lost $60 or whatever. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, turns around, picks up the alarm clock. He's like, this sells solid anywhere from 30 to 60 on eBay, depending on the year, and up to 100. And ever since then, I've found those. I've probably found like 4 of them now, and I've sold all of them. So, I mean, just networking, you might lose out on potential items of like splitting items, because we've done that. Like if we found video games, we'd just do an even split.
Right.
Just so it's fair that way. But you might lose out on the amount of items you get and maybe some profit. But the learning experience and the potential you'll learn from other items you never knew about could outweigh that tenfold down the road.
See, that's the key right there. It's the long-term growth. Yeah, you might miss out on it the first time, but you found multiple alarm clocks, right? I can remember when I learned about Brooks leather saddles, the leather seats. I don't know if you ever heard of the brand Brooks on a bicycle. It's a leather seat. It's really, really popular with the cyclists, and they're just really nice. A lot of times, like I'll find crappy bicycles that aren't worth anything, but the seat, I could pull it off and sell it for $100. And that's something I learned from Chris, the bona fide hustler. And it's just amazing how many opportunities are out there. Garage sales, right? Garage sales. If you're new, I mean, you can go out for what, $10, $15 and turn that into how much?
It's a lot. Like it's stupid. Like you'll have bad days, but you'll have those days where you're like, it's gold. It's like, and some of it is research, you guys. Like you gotta do a little research. Like for me, half my year, because I live in Minnesota, is winter. Right now it's winter, and so there's no garage sales, no
Right,
nothing.
same here.
So in the 6 months or whatever that it's nice out, towns will have community-wide garage sales, and a lot of times they'll be on the same weekend, which sucks. But you have to do a little research. I always check population and average income on those places, and if you can do those things, it can help not always, but help find the more profitable places. A good example is like I went to one. I had a choice between this one town and another town. The difference was probably like a $30,000-$40,000 average income.
Oh, wow.
And I went, and I had found like, and a lot of times those kind of folks, they don't care. They just want to get rid of their stuff. They're just sick of looking at it. They either know how much it costs or they just don't care. So like a good example, I found a Bose, I forget what it was. It was a Bose brand speaker hookup part or whatever. And I saw it, and they wanted $15 for it. It sells for like, I think I ended up selling it for like $280 or whatever. But me, being me, and a lot of resellers, I talked them down. Okay, I knew I was gonna buy it anyway at 15, but I got him down to $5. And I was like, I don't know if it works. Does it work? He's like, I don't know. It's been sitting. I'm like, 5 for it. He's like, all right, I don't care. Gave him 5. Picked up a couple, like, and I'll do that right away on an item that I want really bad instead of like waiting, just so I can like hit him quick. And it seems like the next few items I ask about, he's already, they're already going to go down on. So I picked up that and like some action figures for like $1 a piece. I think I sold all the action figures for like 40 a piece. And then that Bose thing, it sold within like a day for almost $300. So just doing that research of average income and stuff is huge.
That's a really, really good tip. Say you're at a garage sale and you see, I don't know, maybe you see a bicycle you want, or some Bose speakers, or maybe you see some, I don't know, some older Pokemon holograms. You're like, wow, I got to have those, right? First edition Charizard. Yeah. Are you starting to make offers like you find the Bose, you offer, you get it, then you find another item, offer, and get it? Or do you try to bring everything together for a bundle offer at the end? What's your strategy?
I guess it's so many variables set, because now my variables would, let's say, if I'm walking in and I see a younger person that potentially may know the value of an expensive item or know how to research that item. My goal is to make sure that person does not even get a chance to go ahead and make an offer. Because I've learned through experience where I've seen, like, I don't know, that's back in the day, a Wii sitting there, and that was when they were still like 100 whatever, dollars. And I've kind of set it next to the stuff I was thinking about buying, and then, oh, can I put this up here? And they're like, oh yeah, looking, and someone will just come in straight up to the Wii and be like, well, how much is this? And they'll be like, oh, well, they're buying it, and it'll be like $20 or whatever. And the person will be like, I'll give you 30.
I hate when that happens.
And I know, and it's true, and that's maybe it's not the best practice. Resellers, be kind to other people. If they get there first, get out of there. I can't disrespect it, because if they get the item, they get the item. But come on, guys, let's be a little nice about it. But that's just a good example. That's happened to me, and at that moment, I was like, yeah, I might get a better deal bundling, but if I can guarantee that one sale and I'm going to make a bunch of money on it, the other items might not matter as much.
When I was in Austin, Texas, I don't know if it was this year or last year, I forget, but I was with Chris, the Bonafide Hustler, and people aren't following him, check him out, but he's like 6'2", like jacked out of his mind, right? So like usually people don't mess with him, right? So I'm usually pretty happy to roll with him. Anyways, he was looking at a bicycle, and he was down on one knee, and he was kind of messing with the rims or the couple of the parts, looking at the frame or whatever. And some guy literally came up and bought it right from under him when it was in his hands and offered him like $40 more. And Chris, being a gentleman, he's like, you know what? Like, he wasn't going to get like angry or get in a fight with him. He just let him have it. He's like, you know what? Screw that guy. But people out there, you've got to be careful. If you see something that you really, really want, there are bottom feeding vultures out there. They will come and they will. Don't just leave it. I'm telling you, don't just leave it. If you see something you really, really want, lock that deal down, because it happens.
Yeah, absolutely. It does. It does happen, and it happens a lot more than people think. I think
it does.
a lot of people, especially when they're nice, good-hearted people to begin with, they put that faith and that hope into other people, and they're like, they wouldn't do that to me. But I'm telling you, they will rip it out of your hands some of the time. Like, especially like a church sale, good example. I was at a church sale, and it's a nice place, right? Worship, whatever. So I go in, and I'm starting to look, and I see, I think it was like it's either a Ravensburger puzzle or some really nice puzzle, and I knew it was going to be money. And I walk up there, and I literally like got my hands on it, and some lady just rips it right out of my hand. She's like, I was going to purchase that. I'm like,
what?
You can have it. Yeah, she just ripped it right out of my hand.
That.
And it was, she really, and hopefully it was for herself. Maybe, I'm not going to judge or say anything, but it was like $2. I'm pretty sure it was like a $40 Ravensburger puzzle or something. But people, if you just got to pounce on the opportunity when you get it. And sometimes there might be some conflict, and you have to decide if it's worth the fight or not. It happens. It happens to me at thrift stores. I mean, I have more stories. You want another story, Raiken?
Give it to me. I want another one.
All right. I was at a Savers down in the cities, and I was looking at sealed board games, and it came across a board game, the Nickelodeon Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Okay.
Sealed board game. And I grabbed it. I'm like, oh, okay. I put it in my cart, and I kind of start walking. Guy towards the end of the aisle, I think he was looking. He might have set it up there, and he's going to come back for it or whatever. But if it's not in your cart and you're far away, it's not yours. He comes around and looks at me straight in the eye, comes up to my cart, points at me, and he's like, you're lucky that's in your cart right now. I was going to buy that. You're lucky. Like, and he's a big dude.
Was he in the
like,
mafia?
I don't know. I don't know. He's a big dude. He's a big, bulky guy, I would say. But I had 2 older brothers, so I'm not really... Like, they beat on me, so I was like, yeah, well, it's in my cart now, and I said that, and he's just kind of staring at me and shaking, and then he just leaves. I'm like, there's rules to reselling, and there's rules to purchasing items, okay? If it's in your cart, if it's in your possession, it's yours. Get out of here, you know what I mean? If you wanted it, you should have got your lazy butt to get a cart to put it in there or carry it down the rest of the aisle. I'm just saying.
The only way you're screwed is if it's a little kid. My friend, he was at Savers the other day, right? I swear to you. And he found a box of Legos. It was sealed. And as you know, even the smaller ones, if you find a rare one, like they can go for 80, 90, $100 plus.
Oh, yeah.
So anyways, he found this box of Legos and it was sealed. And he's holding it, just kind of looking at it. He just pulled it off the shelf. And I think he already, I don't know if he analyzed it or not, but he knew it was a good deal. And this little cute girl came up and was like, I just went to go ask my mommy if I could have this. And he's like, crap. And he gave it to her. He's like, that's the only way. You're like, you're kind of screwed on luck.
You should have been like, should have put in your cart, get it away from me. Just don't look him in the eyes. That's where you get in trouble, when you look him in the eyes.
Yeah, never look him in the eyes. So let me ask you a question. You're selling 90% on Amazon. What is your advice to the people out there who are selling 90% on eBay? Do you feel that Amazon is better than eBay, or are you utilizing more of your time and efforts with Amazon for specific reasons?
I'm going to put it like this. eBay is a great platform. Love eBay. I think every reseller should have eBay. But Amazon is by far a complete different animal, and like the scalability of it, the freedom of it blows eBay out of the water. And that's not just being arrogant. That's just, I started on eBay and I transitioned, and I haven't looked back. It's so different in the possibilities and so different in the explosion of sales. It's crazy. Like the people, I'm sure you hear it all the time, people are on eBay, my sales are slow, my sales are slow, my sales are slow, or whatever. And I think there's just so many more variations in algorithm maybe to eBay that make it harder, whether that's because it's used items most of the time or whatever, or if Amazon's just becoming such a dominant platform, be all end all basically, and the sales are so much better, I think, there. Can you make a ton of money on eBay? Yes, you can, but I think the freedom, the not cluttering your house with your items and things is just, it puts it on this other level, and so I can't say no to it.
Yeah, I think it depends on your goals. I always thought that, people were in business to make money. I know it kind of sounds weird the way I'm going to say it, but on eBay or Amazon to make the most money possible. I've interviewed hundreds of people. I've talked to thousands of subscribers. Some people, they just want to supplement their income. They want to have fun, and they want to like kind of have something to look forward to and do, right? And I think eBay is a little bit more rewarding in a sense of like being a part of the business and stuff, because Amazon is very scalable. You touch it, sometimes you touch it once or twice, it's gone, and then you get paid, right? I think if your main goal is to make money, as much money as possible, and have freedom and not clutter your house and like be able to travel and stuff, I think Amazon's like all day long. Like I've put a lot more effort into Amazon, but I think eBay is a lot more rewarding because you get to get a little more intimate with it. You take pictures, you hold it, you store it, you ship it. There's customer service. You know what I mean?
I understand that, and I understand that part of it, but I guess for me, like, it just maybe how I'm wired, I don't even think of it that way. Like, and it's like you said, everyone's different. They like their own style. And I think what the major factor with the difference or whatever for people is eBay makes everything tangible. Everything's straightforward as intangible, where it's literally you take the item, you know what it is, you describe it, you do everything, you put your own spin on it, you take the pictures, you decide what you want to show, what you don't want to show, what you think is the best version of itself, whether it's in a picture or whatever. Right. And then you also most likely enjoy knowing the value or enjoy the item itself. And just knowing that you have it until it sells plays a huge factor, I think, because a lot of times people get into selling what they like, either to buy stuff they want or something. So buy, say you're a fisherman, you buy this expensive reel that you've got, and it's an older model, so you're not going to use it, but you know someone's going to enjoy it, but it's a collectible. So you like watching it, having it, seeing other people's excitement of viewing it, and there's that relationship you get. And then when it sells, it's kind of a bittersweet, but you know it's like it's going to a collector, it's going to something. So there's that connection I think a lot of people do get with eBay, where Amazon's a little bit like products, numbers, send it, sell it, keep going a little bit.
Right. No, for sure. Who's this business for, and who's this business not for? This business of reselling online, whether it's eBay or Amazon or Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, the act of buying a physical item and reselling it. Who's it for? Who's it not for, you think?
It's definitely for the people that, I'm going to put it this way, it's definitely for the people that are willing to work their butt off and really want to excel. People that are ready to learn. You have to learn a lot. It's not an easy process, and it's definitely for the person that wants to get away from the normal 9 to 5. Are you going to have 9 to 5 days doing your own business online? Absolutely. But if you are a person that needs flexibility, whether that's hours, times, products, things like that, online market is so huge. It can change your life from going from place to place. So I'm going to kind of put a spin on it like that. And I think that's important. And a really big quote that really helped me and changed my life a little bit was, I don't know whose quote it was. I probably should know, but I saw it somewhere on a YouTube video or whatever. And they said, you're working 9 to 5, an 8-hour shift for someone else's dream. And that really hit home to me because it's true. You, in essence, at a company are a product, and your product is time. You offer that company time, and they pay for it, as in a sense. And I think that's maybe a really simplistic way to look at it, but I think it's really, really true, where your purpose is the time and like a machine in a way. Yep. And you're spending your 8 hours on someone else's dream. I would rather spend 8, 12, 24 hours a day on my dream, on what I want to do, instead of someone else's. Do I have anything wrong with a 9 to 5? No, absolutely not. People like that security, or that's the way they like it. They are fine with that, and you just have to know what kind of person you are, and that's the hugest part with any business. If you don't know who you are, good luck.
Yeah, that's one of the things I love most about having, my own online business. Like you said, it's just waking up and like working on my own dream. If you guys have never done it before, it's an incredible feeling. It's really different. I was always the type of person who, at any job I was working at, I was always watching the clock. I was always, just like looking forward to leaving. I mean, did you work a lot of typical 9 to 5s before?
Oh yeah. I mean, my first job I started when I was 15, I think, at Mickey D's, the old Mac Shack.
Oh
And
man, you were at Mickey D. What's that like working there?
honestly, I can't say anything bad about it. I actually loved working there just for the fact that I learned so much from people. And I know a lot of people get a bad rap or they say Mickey D's, whatever. And it's definitely not something for me. I wanted to stay there a long time, but your first job, you're in the industry a little bit, you're learning. And I learned like invaluable lessons from my bosses. I had good bosses and things that I take with me every day. So I cannot say anything bad about it. Were there bad experiences? Yes. Did I hate being there for that normal grind of whatever? Yeah. But after leaving, especially, and towards the end, I'm like, I learned so much from this place it's amazing. And so I was doing that, and then I started working at a hospital. I worked for dietary aid. I was in the kitchen working on specialty diets, things like that. That was another totally different experience and very fun, and I learned a lot there. And then I also was CNA certified, so I was certified nursing assistant or whatever, and that just wasn't for me. You don't end up finding that out till you do your clinicals, but I did do my state testing, and I did get passed. I think my certification is up now, but just that experience was also a great learning experience, and I think that's the best way to go is even if it's not for you, if you learn something and you get an experience out of it, then that's great. So that's my work experience, I guess you could say, at a regular 9 to 5.
Would you say that one of your biggest motivators to keep driving forward in your eBay, Amazon merch, making YouTube videos, would you say that one of the biggest motivators for you is not having to go back to that typical 9 to 5? And do you feel that people who are just getting started, should they use that as motivation?
It's a good question. The weird thing is I don't wake up thinking like scared, like, oh my gosh, I might have to go back. I think I wake up scared saying, I won't be able to be flexible or be me in what I want to do. And I think that's for me how I look at it. I don't look at it as like the job was the worst thing ever or whatever, but it didn't pursue what I wanted to pursue. It didn't have a ceiling. You couldn't really go up and down in the business. There was nowhere to progress. It didn't matter how hard you worked compared to how little you worked. There was no rewards in that. So like my fear is waking up going like, I have to give up my either personality or freedom or flexibility for that style of job. It's not so much the job. It's that I don't know, that creative juicing, that interacting with people and just that. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but.
No, it does. It really, really does, man. I definitely relate to it. And I think about that stuff all the time, how grateful I am and how grateful all these other people are like yourself to have this opportunity to be creative, to build something of our own. And, I still remember on Sundays, I worked at the Cracker Barrel, and it was a restaurant. I remember Sundays was the worst day because I used to have to go in at 1 o'clock. And I don't know, have you ever been to the Cracker Barrel?
I'm not sure. I don't think I've ever been to one. I've seen them, never went, I don't think.
That place is freaking crazy on Sundays, man. Absolutely crazy. And I just remember just sitting there like, I do not want to be here. Like, I'd be in the parking lot. I used to have to wear a little apron. And I was like, why do I have to be here? Like, this is miserable. Like, I just hated it so much that, I just want to say, like, for the people who are watching, like, if you're on the fence, if you want to get started with eBay, Amazon, anything, you can do it, right? Like, it's possible. I'm nothing special, right? Like, if I could do it, I feel like anybody can do it, right? Because I was the laziest person I ever knew for like my whole entire life, but you got to find something that gets you excited, right? I mean, do you think that anyone could really do this if they put their heart into it?
I do, but I think there's caveats to it. I think people, if they don't get to a certain point, they don't have the correct drive. I think what happens is people are working, let's say, a 9 to 5, and they're okay with it, but it's like, I don't really want to be here, but it's okay.
They're kind of comfortable.
And then like, well, no, they're kind of comfortable, and they're like, I'd like to try something else, and then they try starting a little bit with eBay or Amazon, and it's okay, but it's whatever. I'm still, they don't hit that place of like, this is like my soul. It's ruining my soul because I
was sick to my stomach.
Yeah. I think if you don't get to that point, and it's not in all cases, I don't think, but part of that, if you don't get there, that that feeling or whatever that is, and you know what I'm talking about. You don't really have that drive that's really going to kick you. And I think there's a lot of things that factor into that, whether you are there at that point. And we're not saying go to your job tomorrow and I'm out of here and I'm done with this, I'm gone, or who's coming with me thing or whatever. But but you need to be smart about it. You need to. For me, I did it in stages. I was working, and things started to get better because I was doing my CNA classes really when I started Amazon, and it was this crazy thing where, 6 weeks in or whatever it was of my Amazon journey, I could just see the potential and the factors. And by the time I was done with my CNA class and everything, I was like, this other Amazon thing is something so much greater than this is going to be. And it's just crazy. That's how fast I transitioned that way. But I didn't just leave. I didn't just quit my job. I didn't do it. I put systems in place. I built up some capital, saved some money, and just did it on a slow snail kind of pace. People can do it faster, slower, but I did it where I was working almost full time, one day under full time. And I was doing eBay, and I was traveling every weekend I had off to Amazon. So you actually really do have to work hard, and you're going to sacrifice time and friends and stuff for the first while. And then I was able to start getting that process going. And then I cut down on a day or two at my regular job. I'm like, hey, I got to do this. I can only work this so many days. And they were nice enough to be like, okay. And then more cushion, more experience, more things learned, more things going. That got bigger. Then I need to take a few more off. Okay. And then another snowball. And then I ended up being where I was working 2 days a week. And then I was like, hey, it's time, and did my 2 weeks, and I did it professionally, and I did everything how I was supposed to be. And here's one of the biggest tips of advice I give someone is looking at your job you're at right now. If you're looking to leave, right, this can really help you decide that factor. If you're thinking about leaving, think about, would it be difficult for you to come back? If you had to, would it be hard to come back? Or would it be hard to find a job that supplements the one you left just as good? And for me, when I looked at it that way, I was like, well, I could probably come back easily because they liked me. I was a good worker. I left on good terms. So I have no problem, I don't think, coming back. So that fear wasn't really there. And then I also was like, well, to supplement that income, it wouldn't be that hard to get a job elsewhere if I had to. So I think that's a huge tipping point for people. They're like, I can't, I'm not going to. You've really got to analyze your job and what you could get if it went wrong.
I like that. It's a really good explanation right there. Thank you. So a couple more questions before we wrap things up. Where are you going, man, in 2018 with your business? You know what I mean? Do you have anything new you're looking to get into, or are you trying to just continue to maintain or scale what you're currently doing? Where's Mr. Timothy Grapp going in 2018?
It's one of those things where I'm a person that plans are important, so I'll have plans. But I'm also a person that I know that I need new, if that makes sense. I need to. That's why I have my hands in so many things, because sometimes some things get stagnant and a little bit boring. So Amazon is normally rinse and repeat, but having an outlet like merch where I can learn is huge. So I think for me it's just taking my baby steps that I took this year into merch and let's say YouTube or whatever, and then just expanding them more, still stay consistent with Amazon and things, and then slowly get better in other places. And I think with my YouTube channel, that's been a huge factor. I think anyone that's at my channel, subscribed, or have been hanging out, whether we go live or anything, I think you've noticed a lot more commitment, just because I'm okay letting go of some Amazon, let's say, some time. I think that's part of it. I think just growing on new things is huge, and I hope you guys notice that if you're in my channel.
Awesome, man. So yeah, I'm super excited for 2018. 18 sounds like you're pumped up and ready to go. What final words do you have, man, for the people who are listening and watching on YouTube? Again, guys, if you're not already subscribed to Tim Pocket Profit on YouTube, links are going to be down below in the show notes. So what do you have to say to the folks, man? They're excited. They're pumped up about getting started or growing or diving into 2018. What are your final words of wisdom?
So I'm gonna give you a two-parter. I know we're getting close to the end and we got to get out of here. You're a busy guy.
I didn't know we were going two-part. I'm excited.
But the first one, I really want to touch on before we get out of here, because I know people are getting pumped. They want to get started. They're looking at things. They're getting pumped. But a huge mistake, you guys, that I made that I want you to avoid is get the tools right away. Whether that's if you're starting Amazon Inventory Lab, thermal printer, repricer, whatever, because I cannot tell you how much faster your growth is going to be. You're going to have to invest some money, guys. It is true. And if you can't, I understand, but if you can build up some capital and invest in the tools right away, you will slingshot so much faster. I wish I would have done it. I'm kicking myself because all those hours. So you guys, I know a lot of people might say it and you're just like, whatever. But really listen to when Raiken's talking about and I'm talking about. Just take those tools. If you're going to get serious about it, get those tools. Save yourself hours and hours and hours of a headache. And the last thing, little piece of wisdom, little old wise tale or whatever I want to say is, I get a lot of people go and they're like, I want to try. And they're like, I just don't know how to get started, or I don't know, I might fail, I might not do good, or whatever. Here's what you need to realize. If you are at point A right now and you try something and you fail, guess where you are? You're still at point A. You're never, you know what I mean? Like, you're always at point A unless you try, and the worst that's going to happen is you're back to point A. So that fear of trying shouldn't be there, because if you didn't try, you're at the same place. If you do try, you might make something out of it, or you're right back in the same place. And I think people don't realize that enough.
That is some good wisdom right there. I was reflecting as you were saying that and certain things in my life as well. So awesome, man. Appreciate all the gold nuggets, man, and the information. Hopefully you have an amazing holiday, and everyone listening and watching, have a great Christmas holiday season. 2018 is right around the corner. So thanks again for watching, everybody. Be sure to go check out Pocket Profit on YouTube. Links will be down below. If you guys enjoyed the show on YouTube, be sure to hit the like button, comment, subscribe. If you guys are listening on iTunes, be sure to leave an honest feedback over there if you could do me a big favor. And again, Tim, thank you so much for taking the time to come on and drop a bunch of gold nuggets, man. Hopefully, again, you have a great holiday season and a new year, and keep on rocking, man.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Hey, appreciate it, man. See you soon.